everyone, my name is Deborah and this is my channel Stitch the Stash. Today is Sunday, January 3rd, 2021, and I am here with you today for another FlossTube Extra to talk about my 2021 plans. I'm hoping to keep this video short because, it's just talking about what I have in mind for doing this year, and so it shouldn't take that long. Please excuse my lighting. It is about 7:20 in the morning and the sun has not come up, and it's very dark out still, and we're expecting rain today. So the weather is not really cooperating with my early recording time. But I have the house to myself at the moment, so I thought I'd go ahead and knock this out. So let's go ahead and talk about 2021 plans. I have several things that I'm thinking about for this year, and the first thing is that I am not counting stitches. I've counted stitches for the past 2 years, and I decided this year to just give it up, give myself a break. It's something that I started doing for Magical Stitches when it was Harry Potter Magical Stitches. And then this past year, I decided to continue counting stitches just to see how many stitches I count in an entire year, because I've never done that before, because with Magical Stitches, I didn't start at the very beginning of the year. So I do not know. But I do not have my totals from last year right now because the spreadsheet that I use to total is on my work computer, and I didn't log in for the past 2 weeks because I've been on vacation. So hopefully I'll have that total for you in my first FlossTube update. So the next goal or plan I have is I am participating in WIPGO 2021. I participated last year and I had a lot of fun. It was the first year that Jessie Marie had created a Facebook group for others to join her. WIPGO is her brainchild. It's something that she created for herself to get herself to work on some projects and set some yearly goals. And so many people expressed interest in it that she decided to open up a Facebook group last year so others could join her, and the group has exploded. Basically, you're creating your own bingo board, you set your own goals, whatever that looks like, whether it's number of days stitching or number of stitches, or you work on it until you have a finish. It's just whatever you decide. It's your rules, you do you. But every month she calls two numbers, and whatever those projects are in those numbers serves as a focus for you for that month. You don't have to work on them that month. You can work on anything on your bingo board throughout the whole entire year. You have a year to complete these goals. So I'm participating again this year. I did learn a lesson. I was very ambitious last year with my goals. Everything I put on my board, I put on for a finish. I did not do that. I completed 11 out of the 24 projects, which I'm happy that I completed that many. And this year I thought about what I wanted to complete this year, and so I kind of revised how I set up my board. And I do have it here. I don't know. There you go. You can see it. So everything on the board that has a symbol with the heart in it, those are set up for 3 days of stitching. Everything else that has the blue asterisk, I am going for a finish. And basically everything that's on there for a finish is anything that is in what I consider to be a series piece. I have several different series, whether it's a monthly series, a seasonal series, my Brooks Books Wizard of Oz, my Alice in Wonderland series, my Little Sheep Virtues. Those are series. Pretty Little Cities are series. So I put every single series on my board. They are all for a finish with the exception of two. One is the Cricut Collection monthly series and the other is the Cricut Collection seasonal series. I put those on for number of days stitching because they tend to be on the larger size. And my Pretty Little Cities also. My Pretty Little Cities, because they're huge, are also on there for numbers of days stitching. Because I'm not going to put the pressure on myself to finish them this year. If I get them finished, fantastic, but at least my goal on my board will be for 3 days of stitching, and once I meet that, I'm happy. And so on the series pieces that I do have marked for a finish, every series that I have on there, whatever the current piece is that I'm working on or need to start, once I have one finish in the series, I consider that a goal met. With the exception of my Lizzie Kate yearbook series, I have 6 of those left. I want them done this year, so I marked that goal to be complete the remaining 6 of those, and you have seen those in my recent WIP parade. So I'm super excited to work on that this year, and like I said, revise my goals to finishes and number of days stitching, which is 3 days each project. And the projects that are not series are projects that are on the larger size that I may not finish this year, but I want to put some work into it. So that's why they're on the board. A lot of them are things I didn't touch last year. So I'm super excited to have them on the board. So I know a lot of stitchers out there are doing no new starts for 2021. That is not me. I have too many things I want to stitch before I can't see anymore in my life. So I will be having new starts. I'm putting a little rule into place with there are several exceptions. If I have an assigned start, like a New Year new start, which I did have, or a birthday start, or a birthday start for a friend, or a gift, or my series pieces, because once I complete one in the series, I'm allowing myself to start the next one, or else I'll never finish the series. So those kind of exceptions, I am allowing new starts for whenever I feel like or whenever I want to. But then I'm trying to put the kind of a rule in for me that I need 2 finishes for a start. So yeah, anything that's not a series piece, I really would like 2 finishes for a start, just to slow my roll a little bit on new starts. I know I had a lot last year, and I think 2020 is an exception. It was a rough year for all of us, and so if you felt like starting something, you just did it, and nothing wrong with that. And I was right there with y'all. So yeah, I will have new starts with just a couple of exceptions. Also, 24 hours of cross stitch. I am trying to participate in that more this year. I participated in July of last year when I started all of my Lizzie Kates. So this July I am planning on doing that again, where I'm going to start my next monthly series that are on the smaller side, and I will do what I did last year, is I will have start them all and give each of them 2 hours of love and see if I can get to 24 hours. So I'm trying to do a little challenges like that. I am not participating in magical stitches this year. Last year I did at the beginning of the year, but then I just I lost interest, lost focus. It was a great group, but there was so much going on in it that I just couldn't keep things straight. So then I just decided to do what I wanted to do instead of trying to find things to fit the prompts. I loved the Harry Potter magical stitches, and I think that's why I was really into it. I didn't really care for the book series that we were reading in magical stitches last year. So then this year I decided that I'm just probably not going to participate at all. I haven't even looked at any of the prompts. So magical stitches is out for me. All right, so then I want to step up my fully finishing object game this year, and I've decided that at least once every quarter, I will fully finish something, at least one thing. I started fully finishing more things towards the end of last year, November, December, and it got me really excited to get things out of my finish bin and get fully finished. I do have things that I'm planning on sending to a finisher this year, so that will happen, but that's not what I'm counting as part of my FFO quarterly. So at least one item every quarter at the minimum. So I want to get more things fully finished. Again, when I went through my WIP parade, there were a lot of projects that I did not touch at all in 2020, and I kept saying that I have a plan to touch them this year. And my plan is I am adopting something that Erin Two Martini Stitcher does, and I now know Annie Joyful Stitcher has taken suit and followed her on that, and I think it's an excellent idea, is that I'm going to stitch on my projects when they have their birthday. So that means every single WIP I have will get at least 1 day of stitching, 1 hour of stitching, 2 hours, whatever that day looks like. They will be touched every day. They will be touched at least 1 day this year. So on top of my WIP Go, on top of my, I had things assigned every month to work on. Like I have my New Year, New Start on the 1st of every month, and then I have like a cherry blossom on the 13th of every month, Princess Eliana on the 17th, Long Dog Motstone Moore on the 29th of every month. I'm now adding Anne Morrison to the 25th of every month because I want to touch those on those days every month. So I am now adding birthday WIPs on top of that. So I had some months I have quite a bit of stitching cut out for me, and that's okay. I'm up for the challenge. So I will be touching my WIPs on their birthdays. And then the last plan I have is that I am turning 50 in August this year. So I wanted some way to significantly celebrate that for myself this year. And I thought really hard about what could I do for myself. That is a challenge, and a challenge that maybe I could really accomplish. And I got this idea from Jen Lee, who's Quirks and Stitches, when she went through her WIPs a couple of months ago. She had said that she wanted to get down to, I think, was it 42 WIPs by the time she turned 42, and she was giving herself a year and a half to complete that goal. So I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of cool. It's going to be a challenge for her. I think she'll do it. So I said, what can I do? This was back in August or September. I was thinking, I was like, well, I have a year. I don't have, it wouldn't take me much to get down to 50 WIPs. That's not a challenge for me. So then I thought, well, what about completing 50 finishes? And I originally thought 50 finishes by the time I turned 50 on August 17th, and I wouldn't start that challenge until January 1st of this year. And I'm like, wow, that's a lot of finishes in 1 month, plus working full time. I don't know if that's going to happen. So I'm giving myself the entire year to have 50 finishes. I know for some stitchers, 50 finishes is not a big deal. But for me it is, because in 2019 I only had 24 finishes, and in 2020 I only had 35 finishes, which is huge for me, and I'm ecstatic to have that many finishes. But 50 finishes is huge for me. So that is how I'm commemorating my turning 50 this year. Is I'm planning on having 50 finishes by the end of this year. I've calculated it's about 4 finishes a month plus 2 extra finishes. And I don't want to have just small finishes, which a lot of my finishes will be, especially when it's my series pieces. They tend to be on the smaller side. I want to have some bigger finishes in there too. So I'm excited to see exactly what I can accomplish on that this year. If I can end this year with 50 finishes, I'll be over the moon. So that is all I really have planned for this year. You know, I know in the past years when I've done a planned video, I've said, oh, I'm want this project done, this project done. Yeah, yeah. No, I'm not doing that this year. Whatever gets done, gets done. I'm happy that I'm thinking about, you know, wanting to touch every single whip this year so that I don't have whips sitting, not being touched for a year, year and a half. So that is more of how I'm approaching it this year, is to let's touch the whips and see where we can get with them. So that's all I have for you. I'm hoping this is short and sweet. I don't think it's too terribly long. So yeah, tell me what you think. What are your plans for this year? Do you have any goals? Are you participating in WhipGo? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to chat with you about it. And as you can see, it's getting more daylight out as I speak. So yeah, with that, I'm going to wrap this up. I will be back with my first FlossTube update of this year. Hopefully, I'm planning this weekend to record that. So I will be back in just under a week. And with that, I hope you all are well. I hope you all are having a very happy, healthy beginning to your new year. It was very quiet here for us. We just went and had a nice lunch on New Year's Day with my brother-in-law, and he cooked homemade pizza for us, and we just watched movies at his apartment. He lives 15 minutes from us. He's part of our bubble, so it was a nice afternoon. All right, so really, with that, I'm out of here. I'm going to be getting my day started and getting some stitching done. So I hope you all are doing well, and I will see you in a few days. Happy stitching!